pretty sure that I am rested up and fueled, but I might not be. Now that I've got a sleeper, I'm okay with taking... Okay, I did not. I've got enough fuel, that's not a problem. I've got 7 hours before I need to actually rest, so let's look at the job market and see what there is. Right, we're in Bakersfield, California, and we could have a job to Mineral, Utah, which is not quite as far because we came from, it was like Riverton. I don't remember exactly where we were, but it was a relatively long drive. So it's a 14-hour run. That means it should at the very least have allowance for us to have one rest stop. It's a pretty good length of run. Now this one's urgent. This one may not allow us time, but I kind of like the run it takes us on better. It takes us to Socorro, New Mexico. Or this one is not in a rush, and it takes us to more or less the same place, but also pays less, $10,000 less. I'm just gonna go to the Peterbilt delivery. It's closer to where I am right now, and I know for sure I can make it. Okay. Wait a minute. Am I at the Peterbilt factory? Or not factory, the dealership? I am. So is this where my load literally is at? It is. Sweet. Now that makes life easy. All right, so there's only that one version of the trailer. Right, can't look behind me with the So actually I think when I was behind the dealer when I was delivering, I think I actually saw the trailer that I'm picking up. Let me see, it's was in the dock next to me. Yeah, so that right there, the two forklifts over there are what I dropped off, and I'm just literally grabbing the trailer right next to it and taking that. Not a very good job of winding that up, but we'll take it. Now what view do I want? Let's take a look at it. Yeah, so basically this is, this is a fascinating setup to me, where basically, so the front tires are all off the ground. You've got that hitch that basically pulls that front end off, and then basically between each of the tractors, you have basically something mounted to the fifth wheel that will hold up the body of the next truck. Especially since they're more or less, if they were the same color as my truck, then this would just be 4 identical trucks just going down the highway. Let's see if we actually, that bar in the middle makes this a lot more tricky than I would like, because that's where, as you can see, each of these articulates a little bit. So that's where you're in that situation where gotta make sure that they all get past that bulge. There's definitely some dragging at the end there, but we didn't get any damage for the load, so we'll just call it good. Realistically, it probably wouldn't have really done much damage to the load, But I probably would have done damage to that post. It's probably a recruitment agency across the way. Okay, they're all turning, so I'm gonna go. And I have 34 hours to complete this delivery. That is significantly more than what I need. I can basically take 2 rest stops in it and be fine. So definitely, I do wish that that there was more options to turn up the graphics of this game. Like it is not a bad looking game by any means, but I wish I could do something to step up and crank the graphics even farther. Sitting there looking at how much money I have. I can't. So if I took out $100,000 of loan, I can't pay down that 400. Basically, it's going to be a while before I can pay down that $400,000 loan, which is honestly fine. So I can. Oh yeah, I can borrow 140,000. And if I do that, that does not get me anywhere close to. It gets me up to 200,000, which is not enough to pay off the loan. But we'll get that paid off. Mind you, as soon as we do get that paid off, we're going to immediately take out a loan and expand. I could basically just stop taking out loans and just basically pay everything with money that I make. But it is actually faster to grow by taking the loans. Loans are really kind of overly forgiving in this game. I wish you could set difficulty on things like that. But yeah, both of my drivers are making me about basically between $3,000 and $3,500 per day. Which if you look at how much my loan cost me per day, what it costs to get this going is 5,788. So they are making me more money than it cost for me to get them. And this doesn't count the fact that this includes every part again. This includes the trucks, hiring them, and the garage expansion. Don't really, in my mind, tumbleweed is not a California thing, but we have tumbleweed here in BC. So it would be dumb to think that California wouldn't have tumbleweed, but for me, it's I think of tumbleweed and I think of New Mexico and Texas. Oh, something's clogging up traffic here. So I'm sure it's fine. Just 2 cop cars basically blocking 1 car, that's perfectly normal. It's A-okay, nothing to worry about. Okay, well, we'll pull back over to the right lane. I'm sure cars will be coming up that will want to get past us at some point. Oh, never mind. Back to the left lane. I don't know what we're slowing down for, but we're slowing down for something. I'm pretty sure cars here are on a speed limit of like 70 miles per hour. Trucks are limited to 55. I'm pretty sure cars got their own speed limit here. Oh no, it's just a general 55, okay. It does make it a bit better. We don't need to be going quite that fast. 60 is more than good enough. Alright, we've got a chance to pass here, so let's take it. Also, we can shift up. I was sitting there wasting fuel. And I have realistic fuel consumption on this game, which is like, I wish there was more options like that. I do find that the realistic fuel consumption really isn't nearly as harsh as it could be. Like, for how much money you make, I guess no, the fuel consumption is fine in realistic. The fuel costs are lower than they should be, in my opinion. So we've just passed lunchtime in California. Realistically, we would basically we'd have to stop and do like brake checks and it's basically load securement checks, and stop and take breaks, eat some food. In this game, you can pretty much just keep the pedal to the floor, except for way stations and actual like nighttime rest stops. I think I'm grateful they don't try to force you to do any proper breaks, just because the time dilation means that you'd be pulling over for a break pretty constantly. You know, that would get tiring. Basically, it would feel wrong. Stay in the left lane, but I'm not sure if I'm actually going to pass this guy with any. This amount of time I need the car in front of me is not exactly. Yeah, no, he's empty. I cannot keep up with him. If he's going. Oh, I want to be in the left lane anyway, because left lane turns left, the right lane turns right. I do think it's kind of cool having the multiple trucks behind me that all move independently. They're all, basically when we're turning, they all move, they all articulate on their own. It's like having three short trailers versus one long trailer. Looks like it's just going to be a nice clear day with easy driving and me speeding more than I mean to. Say Las Vegas. I'm pretty sure we're going to end up going through Las Vegas on our way, because we're headed up to the far corner of Utah. Oh, and we're going underneath the hot air balloons again. blimp? Don't think I've actually seen a blimp before in this game. I've seen helicopters out, I've seen airplanes moving, but I don't ever think I've seen a blimp flying before. Let's see. There. Driving blind, but as if I could bring my screen a little bit further forward and then use these two mirrors instead of the actual physical one. But I really prefer actually using the physical mirror. If I could, I would actually have it set so that I basically had the second monitor displaying that view so that I could actually just look over at the other monitor and see the other screen. That would be the ideal setup, I think. Could have pulled it to pass, but I mean, we don't seem to really have anyone behind us. If we're given another opportunity, I think I'll pull out and pass. And yeah, so for the same reason that I love the idea of having a bunch of monitors set up so that I could just look at the other mirrors instead of having that like user interface mirror up in the corner. Basically, playing this game in VR would be stellar, because then it would just be a case of actually look around the truck and actually look at your mirrors, actually look behind yourself. It would basically just be a case of turn your head to look where you want to see, and that would also be super cool. VR would have the additional benefit of you actually be able to move your head around in the space, not just because like right now I can look side to side, but I can't like lean forward to try to look around the mirrors and the A-pillar itself. So we're gonna pull out over here. So it looks like we have an opportunity to pass some loaded big rigs. That is the definition of a clear sky. Not clouds. If you look around, you can find the clouds, but directly ahead of us, there is not a cloud to be seen. I do love the trailers, or basically the big rig trailers. They just there's some novelty to hauling other trucks to me. Oh, we are speeding way more than I meant to. Hey Michael, how's it going? So you're probably gonna tell me what the temperature is soon, but I don't have any clue what the temperature is here today. I've stepped outside, and I'm pretty. It is above freezing, but I don't know where above freezing. I'll be basically once I'm done my live stream today, I'll be headed out of town, so I will be leaving the house today, but not yet. My phone says it is currently 4 degrees Celsius, which is, if my brain wants to work with me, I think like 38 degrees Fahrenheit. Somewhere close like that. I think we're just south of 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Are we going to Las Vegas? It feels like we're going into Las Vegas right now. There's a theme park there on the right. You see the roller coaster and the Ferris wheel. So that's one thing I find interesting is I've gone on roller coasters, and you know what? For the most part, I have liked pretty much every roller coaster I've gone on. I hate Ferris wheels. Ferris wheels terrify me. They're a bad experience for me. The sitting high up in a wheel that's just like sitting there and slowly rickety moving terrifies me. Like on a roller coaster, we've got that movement and all of that. My brain doesn't ever get the fear of heights effect that I get on a Ferris wheel. So it doesn't matter how high a roller coaster goes, I'm fine. But a Ferris wheel, the fear of heights triggers in, and I'm terrified of it. Still go on them. My wife likes to go on Ferris wheels, so we go, but not a fan of the experience. I think this is a mistake because this is probably a turn only lane. Yeah, exit only. So we're back here. Why are we... Okay, there. We're slowing down because you want to turn off there. That's fine. I don't want to. We're just blowing right through Las Vegas. So we're in Nevada now. It means we're no longer set to limited to our 55 mile per hour truck speed limit. So when I was a equipment repairman, I would have to fix things like scissor lifts. I am afraid of heights. So when I have to like test the limits on a scissor lift, so I'm sitting there like going to the highest point it can, looking down over all of the landscape around me. I'm like, oh, this is terrifying. Yeah, I've been in a bunch of different like boom lifts, scissor lifts, and the like. Basically, have full extension because of my job. Sometimes I need to basically function test things and go, okay, well, there's a problem in this one case, so get the machine out there to that one case. But it's like I don't find that it's actually too bad. The fear of heights absolutely kicks in, but I can kind of just power through it. But my effectiveness at working does drop off when I'm also fighting my fear of heights while working. If I'm just out there to do a couple tests, that's not a really big deal. But if I had to be like working at that point, like being like painting a billboard or a house or whatever, the like extension of a boom, I just would not be effective at it because the fear of heights would really stop me from being properly productive. You got cut off on your way to work or on your way home, I would guess. I'm drifting over the line, not paying attention to where I am in the lane. Which is a problem that I would probably have in real life as a trucker. Start to wander, start to think about other things, and which actually, I should take a look at that map. My guy's yawning a lot, and okay, so after the next, so like realistically, I am probably looking at stopping at one of these two. If they pull me into that weigh scale, that may be the perfect time to pull over and have a nap. Because I need a rest stop in an hour and a half. It is currently 5:16. So I'll be going to bed a bit early, waking up in the dark, but that's fine. So that's definitely I feel like I get cut off fairly often. I think everyone does. But I remember the one time I was riding a motorcycle, basically a black cruiser. It was basically just a flat black Honda Shadow, and in all black leathers. And somebody cut me off, and like I didn't even think about it at the time. Like they pulled out in front of me, and I slowed down and left them their space because you just really get used to it on a motorbike, and it's you see someone move and you just go, oh, they don't see me. They're going to cut me off, and that's fine. You just roll with it. That's just how it goes. I'm speeding massively through here. Which actually is... We're too far north for us to be the Grand Canyon, I'm pretty sure. I think the Grand Canyon is south of us. But I don't know what this is. I don't know where we're close by. But anyway, so I got cut off by a guy when I was on my motorcycle. And I followed him for a while, and he pulls into the gas station, and I pull in behind him because I needed gas. It was just a case of I was headed to the gas station, and he happened to... Alright, but the moment he stepped, like, I pull up, drop my kickstand, and he, like, sort of stands between his car and my bike, and, like, apologizes for cutting me off, and I just, like, kind of looked at him for a moment, and like, oh, yeah, whatever, like, it's fine. But just, you see that he had this, like, moment where you could see he wasn't sure. I think he thought, so when I pulled up behind him, I think he thought that I basically pulled in because I was going to give him shit. And it was like, nope, I just used to it. Used to getting cut off. Oh, of course we get the bypass. Well, we'll take it. We'll hit the next exit. We'll take the bypass. We'll not stop there then. But it is definitely the I feel like everyone should have some experience of what it is like being in traffic on a motorcycle. Because every person who I know who has basically ridden a motorcycle, like basically has started to learn how to ride a motorcycle, makes a lot of observations about the way they drive and go, I could do better at this. Because once you have to change your mindset of how you drive. Yes, I know I'm getting tired. I'm already pulling over for it. Oh, trucks no left. We'll take the second one then. I'm hoping the camera shifts soon because I don't know what's behind those trees. stop sign that we're ignoring because with the fact that I'm currently driving with no... I kind of want to pull into that, but you're blocking it off for me. I think that's where I wanted to go anyway. Alright, we'll take this exit here. That will get us fuel. Of course I am. Okay, we'll fuel up and we'll do our rest stop. Now we should be able to get all of these through here without hitting anything. I think I set myself up well enough for that. Close, but yeah, we made it through there no problem. And then we just pull into here. I don't think I pulled far enough forward actually. No, that's not straightened out at all, but we're gonna let that slide this time. Alright, so it is now 6 o'clock in the morning. Let me get back out on the highway. But I did need to take that as wide as I could. We take our exit here and off back to the highway we go. Meanwhile, we are about 6.5 hours away from delivering our load. So that'll basically have us deliver our load around lunchtime. My day's been all right. I did not get as much done as I would have liked this morning, and I am frustrated by it, but that's just the way life goes sometimes. But I'm still in a position. Basically, I'm at a place where I can go. Yep, I can play American Truck Simulator for a couple hours in the afternoon. So I am happy. I'm happy that I still have the time to do things that are entertaining. So I guess yeah, I'd say my day has gone well. My day could have gone better. I was hoping it would have gone better, but my day has still gone well. I am not quite the optimist that my brother is. It's me and him definitely have different philosophies on day-to-day life. Because one of the things where I definitely consider myself a pessimist. I don't think I'm a negative person, but I am a pessimist. The way the way I had some Veil Space to describe it to me when we were chatting sort of about life views, and they went, "Wait a minute, so you're a pessimist?" I'm like, "Uh-huh," and they're like, "But you're a pessimist who manages to turn pessimism into optimism," and I'm like, "Okay." And so he explained it to me the way he saw it was the fact that the way I looked at everything, I always looked at the what's the worst that could happen, and I always go, okay, yeah, basically prepare for that's the way the things go. And then whenever things don't go as poorly as they could have gone, I'm happy because things went way better than I expected them to be. So what a pessimist is someone who looks at everything and basically goes, sees the worst possibilities, or sees the worst of it. Basically, the idea of if you look at a glass that is half full of water and half empty, do you go, hey, that glass is half full of water, or do you go, oh, that glass is half empty? But it's one of the things where I always look at it and go, sort of like, what is the worst? What is the worst that could happen? And then basically prepare myself for it. If that's what happens, then I'm going to be fine. Basically, I try to leave myself in the position where I leave my expectations really low, because it makes it easier to not be disappointed when that's already what you expected by default. So the fact that I expect everything to always go as badly as it could is, by most people, they would call that being a pessimist, and that is the way I think about it. But it is also a case of, like, I've also met other people who are pessimists. I worked with a guy who was the most pessimistic person I have ever met. There was always something negative to point out about everything. Like, I remember the one day I stepped out and I'm like, it was one of those days where it could have been rainy in the morning. It could have gone a bunch of different ways, but it was like a beautiful spring day that was nice and clear and warm. And I like stepped out of the garage and out of the shop, and I stepped out and I basically like turned to some of the other guys and said, "Man, it really turned out to be a beautiful day." And he like just without even looking up, he goes, "It is raining at my place." It was like, oh wow, that is next level pessimism right there. That's where no matter what it is, you can basically look at it and go, well, there's something about that sucks somehow. Or very much if everyone else's life is going great, that means my life is going poorly. And it's like, I'm not a pessimist in that way. I am a pessimist in if things could go two different ways, I assume that it will always go the worst way, and then I'm just pleasantly surprised when it doesn't. I mean, there are also times where it does go the worst way, and then I sit there and go, yeah, okay, this is what I expected. I can move on with this. Where there are some people who, they consider themselves optimists, but they're only optimistic when things go right, and then they just kind of crumble when things start to go poorly. And it's like, well, that's not really optimism. That's just being woefully unprepared for how bad things could actually go. That is completely fine. I will not hold it against you for liking My Brother's Way better. Or sorry. Well, I just figured you like My Brother's Way better. I can be pessimistic about it. But no, my brother's very much the how's it going, and he's just like it's always going great. My days are not always going great, but all in all, usually my days are going pretty damn good. I have very little to complain about in life. So I might be a pessimist, but things have been going really well, so I'm a pessimist who doesn't have a lot of things to complain about. So now I'm trying to decide whether I prefer the day like this in the game where we've got these nice big fluffy clouds in the sky, or earlier where we just had that like perfect blue gradient in the sky, not a single cloud to be seen. Alright, we still have like 250 miles to go. And 5 hours of driving left. This is definitely, for me, this is the part of American Truck Simulator where it gets really zen. It's very, very relaxing. And this is the part of trucking that I would enjoy where it's just a nice serene day and you're just out driving. But I don't think I would enjoy being a truck driver in real life all the time. Basically, I would get tired of this being my day in, day out. Some beautiful days, some not beautiful days. I'm not like one, basically I am not happy to spend my entire day driving. I get cranky when I'm stuck in a car all day for multiple days in a row. Wait, so you have a road that you're not supposed to use it to enter the freeway, but you are able to enter the freeway from it. That seems like a terrible setup. Anytime where you have something like that where people could be going onto a freeway, you shouldn't have signs be the only thing that stops them from doing the dumb thing. Because if you give people the option of the dumb thing and the smart thing, they're going to do whatever is most convenient for them. All right, zipper merge, come on in. Definitely slow down a little bit too much to give the car enough space that it would actually go. But all right, through the construction zone. Sorry, there's barbed wire grass and a hill, and people go over this hill and grass to get onto the freeway. It is nice to see my bank account slowly fill up, even when I'm not collecting a paycheck quite yet. So I only collect the paycheck when I deliver the load, but I've gained over $10,000 during the drive just because my other drivers are earning me money. If I'm like, I know something's going on. Alright, Bess, go for it. try to pass this bus since I'm tailgating the crap out of it. And I didn't see anyone trying to pass me, so I should hopefully be able to pass this bus without blocking traffic. Weaving over the road because I'm trying to read the comments. It is for reasons like that I really appreciate GPS these days. I remember going through cities with nothing but a map and basically having to problem solve where you were going. I don't miss it. I mean, there's to some extent I sometimes miss it. It was kind of nice just actually going and exploring a city. Like there was no computer to tell you, oh, must have taken that corner too tight and hit the curve there. I did some damage to the load. I was obviously not being careful enough. But yeah, but basically when you're in an unfamiliar place and you're just trying to get somewhere, GPS is so nice. Although I don't have GPS for my motorcycle, so it is a case of whenever I'm on a motorcycle, it's still all right. If you're in a new city, basically do your best to explore and figure out where you're going without a GPS. Because basically, whenever I'm in that case, I will use my phone as my GPS, but I won't I don't have my phone sitting out on my handlebars or anything like that to watch. It's just a case of go, yep, I think I know where I'm going, and if I feel like I'm lost, pull over and pull up my phone and check the map. That's a unusually beautiful mountain. Like, it just has a good aesthetic to it. Honestly, it reminds me of like when we were passing through Montana. I saw a very sort of similar landscape that I really enjoyed. It was simple but beautiful. It's a lot like the mountains we have around where I live, except a lot more green. Still struggling to gain speed. I'm looking forward to when I level up more and can actually buy the next step up of engine. Although I think no matter, basically there's no engine in this game that really makes it that you can just drive up hills like your car. In real life, technically there are, but you don't really see them. Like no owner operator is going to be putting an engine in that's powerful enough to just accelerate hard up hills, because that's expensive, both in initially buying that truck and engine, and also in the fact that you are now going to be burning through a lot of fuel. An engine that makes that sort of power is going to be very, very thirsty. Some sort of mining operation there on the left, some sort of refinery. Yeah, go ahead. Way over the line. Oh yeah, basically freaking out because there's a big rig that's going to come basically intersecting with where you are before you realize, hey, no, they're not on the same road as you. So since she got a new car that's new to her but used, or a brand new car off like bought from a new car dealership? So what brand of car did you go with? Did she go with an American car or a import car? Did she go something with like a Chevy or a Ford, or go with something like a Honda or a Toyota, or something something European like a BMW or a Volkswagen? Jeep. Well, I hope she enjoys the Jeep. Jeep is definitely one of those brands I wouldn't personally buy, just because as a mechanic I have just dealt with too many Jeeps that had issues. I have basically had dealings with a couple where they maintained their most of the vehicles through the shop that I was at. But they had a Jeep that they had brought brand new at the dealership. Oh, paid off Miller or something. They bought a Jeep brand new at the dealership, and its first year it spent more time in the shop being fixed as a brand new car, had like less than 2,000 miles on it by the end of the year, and it spent more than half of its year in the shop. Just had a lot of problems. Jeep is, they may no longer be having these issues, may have sorted them out and be good and reliable now, but there was a time where they were just not managing to be reliable enough to, like, I just looked at them and went, nope, this is not a vehicle I could ever justify owning. Too many issues. But as a mechanic, that is just part of the way I think. I don't look at it and go, yeah, whatever, it's like repairs are going to be warranty and that's fine. I look at it and go, how, like, what are the likelihoods that this vehicle will spend downtime because it's broken down? And I prefer to buy a vehicle that I don't suspect will have any downtime for being broken down. And that includes my motorcycles. That's why both my motorcycles are Hondas. Honda makes a very reliable engine. and I'm fond of that reliable engine. Now, one thing that there's one community of people that love Jeeps that will never ever let go of Jeeps, and that is basically the off-road community. There's very few vehicles that you can just take off a factory floor that have the ability to go out and basically drive off-road and do it well. Jeeps are not the only ones. Like the vehicle I bought, the Toyota 4Runner, is another one of those vehicles that the people in the off-roading community absolutely love because it is really good at that. As an SUV, if you're buying it for the things that normal people buy an SUV for, the 4Runner is not good for it. Like the Toyota Highlander is just a better version of the Toyota 4Runner if all you're going to do is leave it on pavement. If you're going to take it off-road, the Toyota 4Runner is a much better vehicle. And that's where most Jeeps, not every Jeep, but pretty much all, like 90% of the Jeeps they make, you can just take it off-road and it'll handle it. It'll do it well. They're actually built with off-roading in mind, where a lot of the vehicles that want to like present the image of we're rough and we could go off-roading and do all this stuff, but they're not actually good at it. Like if you actually try to use them that way, they're going to break. And even Toyota is guilty of this, where they'll sell you this image of this off-road capable truck, and then you go use it that way, and it's going to break. It's not actually designed to handle it. They want to sell you the image, knowing that you're not going to use it that way. They don't actually build it tough enough to handle it. Remember one of the techs I worked with told me a story of somebody who had bought a Toyota Tacoma and then took it off-roading, and they basically destroyed the transmission and the transfer case. That or they destroyed the diffs in the transfer case, I can't remember, but either way, they destroyed part of the driveline. And they came in and basically were like, oh, my Tacoma broke, this should be warranty, and they went, nope, you damaged it yourself, it's not warranty. And they're like, but I was just driving it. And it was like, no, but you drove it in a way that is not reasonable to be driving it, so it's on you. And it kept slowly being escalated up where they were basically going higher up the chain of command, and Toyota basically went, nope, this is not normal wear and tear, we're not covering it. So he requested a meeting with the managers, with higher ups. They agreed, and he basically came in with a videotape, and basically he had requested to have a VCR, this back in the days of VCRs, to basically play his tape. And basically what it was the ad that Toyota had been running on the Tacoma. Oh, you dick. Oh, that was a total dick move there. Massively just cut me off. Just had to basically, that was an emergency stop right there. I was full brake and just come to a stop. But anyway, so he had played the ad that they had been advertising for the Tacoma, and in it they basically are like driving it all over dunes and like jumping in and doing all this off-road stuff. But yeah, so he played them that, and they basically went, oh shit. Yeah, and he basically just told them, it's like, all right, so either you're basically going to buy back the truck at full cost, or I sue you for basically false marketing. And I think they ended up going back and forth on that, and they ended up actually not buying back the truck, but they did repair everything under warranty. Where I am headed to today is Vernal, Utah. So I'm basically right at my destination right now, and then I'll be grabbing the next load and going. So I started in Bakersfield, California, and drove to the far corner of Utah. You don't hear any sound? I should be broadcasting sound. Hello, Ozzy and Pogo. All right, so we've delivered. Now this is probably going to be just a straight pull in because it is a very articulated trailer. But it is going to be back there. Okay. So Jess, are you hearing me or are you not hearing anything at all? I've been streaming for pretty much exactly an hour at this point. Oh man, I'm not going to get this lined up. I'm going to have to try that again. All right, just give me 1 second. Just going to double check the sound. Okay, I'm glad to hear because I'm like, on my end, everything should be going right, but I also don't know. You never know when things are just broken because you did something slightly different or something basically buggered up. Yeah, I definitely also need to replace my phone soon. I'm hoping mine's going to be less cranky than yours though. Your phone's probably still bitter about being lost in the airport or lost in the plane. Oh, there's no way that's going to line up. This is actually going to end up being a very difficult one because this would be a very difficult load to back up since it's articulated in 3 points. This has been a very weirdly uncooperative load. So I play a lot of different games. I don't really play Farming Simulator. I have on this channel in the past played Farm Manager actually. But I do play a variety of other games. We basically I play games like Valheim and Satisfactory and Dice Sphere Program. But Juan and Jess both play Farming Simulator. That is probably the biggest game that they play a lot of. Okay, so if I get back here now fast enough, can I make this work out? Oh yeah, that did the trick. Okay, so what did we unlock for? Oh yeah, we're going to continue just going for long distance unlocks. I just want to drive as far as we can. But what did we get for our trucks? Yes, we have the. I can get the chassis upgrade that I want. I think actually. So this one's for Kenworth. Oh no, so no, that's there is an unlock for Kenworth, but this was looking only at the Peterbilt ones. But let's set the GPS. Oh, I was for a sec confused for a second. I'm like, but I set the GPS to go to the nearest shop. Why is it not going? I'm at a dealership. There's a shop right here. I don't need to go anywhere to get basically upgrade my truck. I can just do it right where I delivered. We may as well do a service. Get up to date on all of the repairs. And then let's make some adjustments. We need to be level 20 before we can get the better sleeper, but I'm really interested in is the 6x4. We may as well get an upgraded motor while we're here. This is definitely going to eat into the money we've been earning, but this is worth it. Oh man, and an 8-speed transmission? Heck yes. I am all in on that. No need to change our paint job. I like the simplicity of that bull bar just as is. Yeah, we'll go with the longer the longer colored facade along the side. No, I like the round ones better. All right. So that cost us $45,000, but I think that is well worth it. Although, let's look at the job market. So we're largely we're not in the middle of our area of operation, but we've got a lot of different possibilities places to go. Okay, so we could go down to Yuma, Arizona. I like the idea of that run, and I know that we're really close to the thing we're delivering there. Oh, that's actually these are some interesting loads. The huge tires or the haul truck hull. But I want to go down to Yuma, Arizona more than I want to do that unique haul, so we will go with this. Which I already saw. I do find it funny. I deliver 3 trucks to here, and then the load I'm taking is 3 trucks from here going not back to where I came from, but back in the same direction. So we've got the 3 trucks I just dropped off, and then I hook up to these and take these down to Arizona. So 3 trucks from California to Utah, and then 3 trucks from Utah to Arizona. But that's I've seen Juan do loads where he is basically taking the exact same Like he's basically taking the exact same load in opposite directions, and it's like, what is going on? Why? Did I did I not take that job? Oh, I went to just take the like load up the trailer. You can't do that. You need to drive to the front of it. Basically, I requested a route to the job. I did not request the job itself. I need to drive to here to check in. Which I'm pretty sure I can't adjust anything about it. Take job. And now I need to go and hook up to the trailer. Oh man, it's going to take me a while to get used to having 18 gears forward and 4 gears backward. I'm going to be very happy about this, but it's going to take me some time to get used to it. Yeah, I agree with Jess on this one. I'm looking forward to having warmer temperatures, but I want 15 degrees Celsius, not 30 degrees Celsius. Now, let's look at my details before I get too far. I have 45 hours to make the delivery. My next break needs to be in 5.5 hours. No, that's not the Benevent. There. Yeah, so that is I want warm temperatures, warm enough that riding a motorcycle is nice, but the peak parts of summer temperature where we get up to 40 degrees is just way too hot for me. I don't want to get that warm. I would like between 20 and 30. Anything past 30 is hotter than I would like it. Anything under 20 is cooler than I would like it. But that is, our summer temperatures are definitely hotter than I would like. Late spring is where I am happiest. I can go outside and do things and the temperature really isn't a problem. But luckily that's the thing, I'm here in the Okanagan. That period of time actually lasts for quite a long time, and I really enjoy it. Except I'm like, I need to slow down more for that corner, not because I realistically need to slow down for the corner, but because my controller makes the steering less sensitive the faster I'm going, and I'm not going to be able to actually physically make the corner in time if I don't slow down more. Steering sensitivity is what dictates how fast I can go around a corner, not anything else. The Little Shepherd's Inn. That was a very cute sign. Yeah, that's the. It is hard to get a good deal on a phone, so it is well found. All right, I don't think I've actually made it to Arizona in this game yet, so this is going to be. Yeah, I haven't touched. Like I've like clipped through the corner of Arizona right here. That's the only time I've actually been to Arizona. So I've been close to Arizona with Las Vegas, but that's it. And I also really haven't been in New Mexico much. I made it to Raton, New Mexico, but that's it. So getting down to Yuma is going to be really a run straight down the heart of Arizona. Um, and then yeah, so Grand Canyon should be right over here. So yeah, that area where I was like, I feel like we're close to the Grand Canyon, but we can't be there because I'm pretty sure the Grand Canyon is right here. I don't actually know where like Grand Canyon Village is in relation to the Grand Canyon, but my guess is Grand Canyon goes right over here, and this village is going to kind of lead beyond the edge of it. Wait, why did my parking brake just engage? That was very unintentional. Must have been a misclick, but I don't know what I hit to do that. I have not even looked at what I want for my next phone. I do need to replace my phone, but I just have not taken any moment to consider what I need and what I am getting. Nope, that did not mean to do that. I'm gonna do that, and let's change up the camera. Let's see if we can get some good camera shots. Really hard to control this through the corners with this camera view. I do wish that like they didn't like snap to that close to it. Like I'd like a farther, more cinematic shot more often. Like sometimes it can give you a really nice shot using this camera. Most of the time you just kind of get this where it's just this like snappy following your big rig more or less. Yeah, I try to basically use that camera view because I just sometimes you can get some really nice shots out of it, but a lot of the times you're kind of left with nothing. Like it doesn't really like I'd prefer a better cinematic camera than that. That's the closest you have to a cinematic option. There's a lot of camera views that like have in theory some purpose. Like this one is obviously very like this is just a third person camera view. It does its job very well. It is perfectly good, but I prefer not to use it just because driving in person is the more authentic sort of American Truck Simulator deal, I think. And you also have this, which is really great for driving and backing up because you can, if you're in reverse, it actually gets to the back end of your load. The over top of your truck view. I feel like this is a place one to put a camera. Then you have the behind you along the side view, which is risky, front bumper view. And then this is actually also a decently good view. Actually, let's, before I, yeah, okay. Kind of a neat view, but also currently I'm very blind as to where I am going. Like this is one of those views where it's kind of neat as a novelty, but also I feel like is you kind of useless as an actual being able to do anything with the view. Because driving like this is extremely difficult. It's like, alright, so what does this view actually exist for? It's not going to help me park a big rig for the most part. But like that's definitely like if I was setting up cameras to do like different shots to stitch together, I would absolutely love this this view to be able to stitch in. But as a playing a game from this perspective, it's not so great. Yeah, I can't imagine that you'd keep this this camera very long. Mind you, it is a case of it wouldn't have to be out there quite that far to still get the same effect. All right, well, let's hop back inside. Okay, yeah, Mike. Sooner or later, I'm going to need to make a turn. So yeah, then there is, so this is, then the last camera is the one that is sort of cinematic and it kind of snaps by. I don't hate that view, but also it's largely not useful. It's, so I do like it when you're, like sometimes it'll pick a good spot when you're basically going to go park, basically go drop a load off and you actually get this really nice big overhead shot of you basically bringing the trailer into a yard or leaving the yard. That's super cool. I actually really like that. But most of the time it's a useless camera. All right. So So immediately into the scale. Got it. Definitely having the 8-speed transmission just means you do a ton of shifting, but man, is it real nice to just have the right gear for everything. Oh, one had an interesting experience with the scale. That's always fun. Welcome to Utah. Have we not been in Utah this? Oh, we left Utah and then came back in. So we've been in Colorado for more of this. I thought we were headed south in Utah, so I was so confused by the welcome to Utah sign. It's like, but we never left Utah. You know, we started the journey in Utah, but we did not make it all the way through in Utah, so that's fair. Alright, so we have about an hour and a half to find our next spot to rest. So I don't think we're going to stop there, but I think we're going to... Well, there gets... No. I don't know if we'll make it as far as that. Let's see though. Let's see if we can make that before we start to fall asleep and take naps on the road. Welcome back, Michael. Do I believe in ghosts? I feel like that's a loaded question. I am very open to the idea of there being ghosts, but don't think that we have proven enough of the things to really have any strong actual beliefs about ghosts. I think there's a lot of things that we don't understand and that we can't explain that would allow for the explanation of what gets labeled as paranormal activity to have a real basis. But at the same time, not what I meant to do there. But at the same time, I don't think it's as simple as a lot of people who believe in ghosts think it is, where it's like, yeah, we ghosts are the spirits of dead people who remain. We don't really know anything about, like, everything we know about the physical world has been hard-won by proof and basic counter-proof, and like everything is always easy to update to the best known model because it's always being argued back and forth so constantly. Like mathematicians will sit there and argue back and forth over what is a number actually. And yeah, for the most part, it ends up just being this argument that mathematicians have that isn't interesting to everyone else. But it does lead to some interesting ideas that would basically people being able to do things with math that you wouldn't necessarily think of being possible to do with math. With the spiritual side of things, we have less of that ability to just test and review, because because we understand so little of it. But at the same time, there's enough room in the we don't understand things for there to be a lot of different options. I definitely would not call you crazy for saying that you lived in a haunted house. But it's one of those where I think when we're confronted with things we don't understand, it is very tempting for people to just make up an answer that seems basically make up an answer that is convenient. But whenever you look at, like, whenever you compare it to things in the real world, like, very often the simple answer is not the correct answer. Like, there's a lot of the little things in life that we just accept as fact because it makes our life simple enough are not. I should double check. How am I doing on my run to the destination? Next checkpoint is 1 hour away. Which if I look at, well, we'll try it. We'll try to go for it. That's a brave individual doing a left turn through a red light with a cop behind him. Ah, you bugger. You have like a center lane there. You don't need to block everyone's traffic. I've done poorly. Well, and that's some of those things that sometimes you get photography where you go, there's a lot of room to explain this simply with like phenomena of how cameras work and how light works. And people will go, no, this is ghosts. And it's like, yeah, you know, there's a really simple answer that is not ghosts. But there are also times where it's like, the answer, you can sit there and try to explain it as something else. But sometimes you look at it and go, well, the simple answer here is ghosts. But in neither of those situations does it actually completely rule out the other option. The simpler answer is just something that we usually accept because it makes life more, like, it gives us the answer that's close enough to make us go, yep, we're happy with it, and just move on. Oh, this is a left turn lane only. Of course it is. We're going to just use this turning lane. Michael can yell at us later. Saw my opportunity to pass, I took it. All right, well, thank you for stopping by, Jess. We will talk to you later. Have you planned out your streams for the week yet, or is that just going to be a kind of they happen when you have time and when you feel like it? So it would turn into a passing lane like right after, so I'm pretty sure that makes it legal, right? Tuesday and Thursday? Cool, sounds good. Yeah, we've hit our, really need to have our rest stop now time. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. I want, nope, not that button, that button. We're gonna go wide to make this turn in. May have gone a little too wide. This should sort of self-correct behind me. There, fill up and go and rest for the evening. $810 of fuel. Sure glad I don't have to keep a big rig fueled in real life. The expense of work. I really don't want to back all this up. Let's see if I can. Yeah, no. 3 pivot points is a few too many pivot points for me. So what we're going to do is we are going to nose in here, and then we are going to basically pull around inside here. We're outfitting ourselves with the thing of backing all of this up. That's the way we're doing this. It works. Semis carry 150 gallons. That depends on what the size. Like you can have a very different size of. There are some big rigs I think that will basically carry double that. There are some that will be carrying like 200 gallons. Like the big rig setup that I've got right here, which is I think a relatively realistic setup, is carrying 220 gallons. So you can have a variety of different fuel tank sizes. And that's from most big rig operators I've talked to, including Juan and Jeff, as well as a couple others. The thing that everyone wants is they want a fuel tank that's big enough to last for an entire day's driving. They do not want to have to fill up multiple times a day. That seems to be the point where they get cranky and want bigger fuel tanks. But once they only need to fill up once per day, they're pretty fine with whatever. They're not picky on what size of fuel tank they actually have. Juan, your truck is 180 gallons? Because that's my truck here in the game is 220, which seems to be like when I was at 200, I was happy. I wanted more than 150. I was at 150 when I started this game, and I wanted more than 150 because that would not last a day's driving in game. But at 200, I was then managing to do a full day's driving. Basically, I could just refuel when I went to sleep and be good. And now at, or that was at 200. At 220, now I've just got a little bit extra room over top of that, and I'm basically not, I'm not really considering how much fuel I have when I'm doing anything. It's just a case of, oh, go to bed, may as well fuel up, and then life is easy. Just fuel up once per day. I was totally not getting ready to do an illegal pass if that vehicle like slammed on the brakes. It's fine. Everything's fine. I wasn't going to do illegal things. This is a painful crawl. I'm just hoping we can crest this hill here, and then it will be downhill for a little bit. I can pick up some speed. Come on. Yeah, we're gaining speed back. I don't have to downshift. Woo, let's do it. All right. Well, we should be able to do this next run in one day, but it's going to get close because we still have over 10 hours left in this journey, and yeah, we have like 12 hours to rest up. So if we hit like a delay or a detour or something, we might not actually be able to complete it in the one day. But we do have 28 hours to complete the mission, so we'll still make the mission in time, but we will not be making it in. Basically, like all the runs I'm doing right now are usually a 2-day run. It takes me about 2 days to complete each run. But I think that there are still longer runs, ones that might take me 3 days of driving to complete the run, and that's kind of what I'm hoping to get. Basically, trying to get the longest runs in that I can. Getting into way more rocky territory. Yeah, and we're basically almost at the Arizona border. You'll see. I basically, the last run I did, all the money I made off it, I immediately put back into the truck. But once I do this run, I should be able to look at possibly, we'll see what I can do with my loan. I'll either be close to being able to pay down part of it, or I will be close to being close to paying down part of it. So we'll see. There's a possibility that I might actually be able to just pay down part of it, but I'm not actually sure that that's going to be possible, so we'll remain pessimistic about it. Going way over the line there with the trailer, or I guess the trucks. So Juan, if you are hauling a load that consists of 3 other big rigs, Is that your trailer? Or are those just more trucks? Do you have nothing but trucks? Can't talk about the trailer, can only talk about the load. See, something tells me you're not going to share the fudge. And we are going to go past the viewpoint. I think we just take a quick moment to pull over and check it out. Although currently it looks like it's in the middle of the road. I suspect that's not probably the case. It would be a weird place to just have the viewpoint. Although that seems to... Is there a viewpoint here? There's a camera here. What are we looking at? I don't know if this is just like a misplaced viewpoint, because yeah, it exists here on the map, but doesn't actually appear to be anything. This is not safe for work. This now needs to be marked 18 plus. This is how trucks get made. So that is I'm a very simple man when it comes to what I like in fudge. I like simple fudges. I just want basically like chocolate, maybe something like chocolate and peanut butter fudge. I don't want a bunch of complicated things for my fudge. Okay, so we found a viewpoint here. Let's pull over and appreciate this viewpoint. Although I'm definitely pulling in from the wrong side, so it's going to be wrong. Oh, we're visiting the Juan County, the San Juan County. Leaving Utah, entering Arizona. The was very important between those two. So you can see where some of the rock patterns repeat. I wonder what game engine they used to make this. Because it is good looking, but yeah, I also feel like a lot of what they've basically had to do is just deal with an engine that doesn't actually want to do what they basically. There's no game engine that by default is going to be suited for doing something like American Truck Simulator, just covering lots of landscape at whatever, basically going wherever you want. I mean, mind you, I guess a lot of open world games are that way, so something like Unreal Engine might actually be suited well to it. Right at the lights here. is a turning only lane there, the very last one. So I have a merge lane. Although, that was a terrible idea. Because my trailers can't, or the trucks behind me. Yeah, I totally took out the sign in the corner. These track a lot more than I think that they're going to. And this game keeps getting me in trouble. Maybe I should not haul these trucks anymore. I think Juan has gone back to work, so I don't think you're getting an answer from that. But if I had to hazard a guess, I would say that Juan's answer to that question would be yes. There'd probably be some caveats to it. There would probably some qualifying statements. But I do believe the answer to the question would still be a yes. I do think that he does believe in ghosts. At least at some level. Yes, that would be the time to ask him. This truck. But the lines are double solid. I'm not allowed to pass here, Michael. I mean, yep, the best way to get a question answered is to ask it directly to the person who you want to answer the question. Do the illegal passing. Yes, that was very highly illegal. But it really wasn't that dangerous, so I was okay with it. It was mostly not dangerous because it's a video game. In real life, that would have 100% not been worth the risk. Oh, I'm leaving all the road reading the comments, which is also very much a real life problem to have. You're sitting there looking at your phone and trying to drive. You get some really bad driving habits on it. Oh, we're slowing down. I don't know what we're slowing down for, but we're just going to have to because I see you're here now. It's legal for me to pass here, but I don't have the speed because I just lost it prior to this. Can we build enough speed to pass them before we run out of passing lane? Probably not, because we have oncoming right now, and we're going to lose our passing lane right after that. Yeah, so right there our passing lane ends, we can't pass. So that is definitely a case of, I remember there was a video of me and Juan riding motorcycles, and we passed on a single solid line. Someone was giving us crap for illegally passing, and it's like, Nope, we did not illegally pass. You are allowed to pass on a single solid line. When it is a double solid, you are not allowed to pass. That is very much a no passing zone everywhere. But when you have a single solid line, that is a basically pass at your, basically it is at your discretion. You may pass when safe to do so, but no one is telling you that this is a safe place to pass. It is entirely at your discretion. It is entirely on you to make the safe choice of can you pass here. So the lines don't have to be broken for you to be able to pass, but there can't be two solid lines. A dotted line with the solid, a solid line and a dotted line with the solid on your side, you're not allowed to pass on, and two solid lines, you are not allowed to pass on. But when it is a single solid line, you are allowed to pass on that. So one thing that I find interesting is that people also do seem to get incorrect is there are people who legitimately think that you are allowed to speed when passing someone. It's like, nope, you are not legally allowed to speed ever. I mean, that's not entirely true. You are allowed to speed technically if you are going with the flow of traffic. It is not illegal to speed if you are speeding the same amount as everyone else. Definitely went wider just because I carried quite a bit of speed through that. But yeah, that's the only, and that's that point. It's not that it's legal speed; it is simply no longer illegal to move. Basically, the speed limit kind of gets adjusted for keeping you safe by allowing you to match the speed of other people. Because it is safer to speed if everyone else is than it is to go speed limit if everyone's doing like 20 over. Passing someone, you are not going with the flow of traffic if you are passing someone. If you are going faster than the flow, then you are not part of the flow. The passing lane, but I had to slow down a little too much for the start of it, and I don't know if I'm going to make it. I don't know how long this passing lane goes on for. I'm currently being outrun, so there's no point in me staying in that lane. Okay, we're catching him. Slowly, but we're catching him. Yeah, I kind of looked up Wingstop when you were talking to Juan about it on the weekend. It honestly looked like good food. So of course I'm just working so hard trying to get past this big rig, and it's difficult. Making this real painful. Yeah, I was up in one of those of I could have passed a Wingstop without noticing, because the signs they use don't, like, in my brain that doesn't trigger as that's a restaurant. With it being called Wingstop, it probably should be relatively obvious that it's going to be a restaurant. I don't know what else the wing would, but wings get used a lot for other things, especially like in the transport industry. You get wings used a lot of places, so I don't know that I would have actually guessed that it is a restaurant. Would not have just guessed by default that it was food. So we're getting a delayed green or an advanced green? Advanced green. All right. And so we gotta wait for these people to go first. All right. We should have our green advance now. All right. I'm signaling the wrong way there for a moment because I pressed the wrong key on my keyboard. That's where I'd love to have a wheel set up with dedicated buttons for things. It could be it'd be nice. It'd be super handy to have. So I'm sorry, Big Rig, but I'm pulling in front of you. If they move too slow for you, you gotta have to change lanes. Definitely also not been to Arizona, but if you told me that you were going to drop me off in Arizona at Flagstaff, and then you dropped me off and there was like green, basically it was green all over the, oh, and we have to detour this. This is going to be a problem. All right, so I said if we hit a detour, we might not be able to. No, that doesn't add a lot to the trip. This might actually be fine. It does add a bit to the trip though, so we're gonna do what we can, which is just hammer down and see if we can make it. Honestly, if you just showed me their logo, I would assume they're either like a retro clothing, like basically like the sort of company that would be making like classic blue jeans sort of shop, like a classic clothing shop, or like like an automotive service shop, like they basically like one of those like tire and lube places, one of those places that really just focuses on like services and tires. Basically tires and brakes, stuff like that, like a tires, brake, muffler specialty shop. Those are kind of the things I would guess at, like the classic American tune-up idea or the classic American blue jean. Like that's Wingstop to me would be something like that, just based off the look of their logo. So it is not something that in my brain immediately screams food. Need a shift. I was basically redlining her there. Basically walk in and be like, oh, I want this, and they're like, this, do you know where you are? Because it feels like you don't know where you are. Sir, this is a Wendy's, but in a Wingstop. Yeah, it's just one of those where if like I would basically, if I actually was like at one, you know, I'd probably be able to look at it and go, hey, that looks like a restaurant. But just if I just saw the sign, I don't think I would clue in that it's a restaurant at all. least we didn't have to stop for that one. We just had to slow down a bunch for it, which was fair. Shouldn't be blasting through a construction zone. That would be rude. I mean, I'm definitely the sort of person, if I went to a food shop instead of a tire place when I needed a tire shop, I'd probably stress out enough trying to deal with the tires that I'd want to go get tires dealt with first. But after that, I might be tempted to go back to the Wingstop for food. Slow down more aggressively there than I needed to. Alright. And so we go on. Definitely going to be ending the stream as soon as this run is done. As the runs are getting longer, I'm getting less and less. The first game I think I might have even got 4 runs in. They're all much shorter. Now these runs, I think the longest run I did in the first game was a 4-hour run game, which doesn't take a ton of time. You know, like both of the ones today have basically been two full day shifts, so like 16 to 18 hour runs. Because they haven't been, basically I could do more than just, like basically each run is not taking up the full amount of time I'm allowed to drive each day, but you're also allowed to drive quite a lot of hours in a day. You're basically allowed to drive around 14 hours. Well, I guess about 13 hours. Realistically, you drive about 13 hours a day and then have another hour for breaks, but this game doesn't really include the hour for breaks, so you can do like about 14 hours of driving in the game, I think. So yeah, it's taking up basically, I get basically a half day off every other day. Not that I really get off, I just go to sleep and wake up and go back to work. But each run is taking about a day and a half of all the time that I possibly have, which would still be more than 2 full work shifts. I mean, yeah, if I'm ever in a spot that has a Wingstop, I will probably pull over and basically if I need to stop for food in a place that has a Wingstop, I'll probably stop and eat at the Wingstop. It's definitely not a restaurant we have anywhere close by, as far as I'm aware. I don't think I haven't ever seen any in Washington. Yeah, that's what I figured. I'm like, I don't know how far northwest they've stretched, but there's a lot of things you get in the south that we do not get up here in the northwest. Especially if you're in BC and you don't travel to the States. There's a lot of American things that don't stretch across the border. Yeah, the next rest stop and when this job gets delivered are pretty much going to line up dead even. So basically, this job's going to have taken me basically both days. All the hours I could drive are going to be taken up by this job. I mean, yeah, that is a case of Juan has a sister-in-law there, so they do have a tendency to go down there more frequently. The most likely time that I will be in Texas again is probably once again if I'm flying down to Central America. That cop just slammed into the side of my trailer, and that's partly my fault. I changed lanes just before he decided to move over. I think he already had his turn signal on, but I was in the lane when he came over and slammed into my trailer. And the game didn't penalize me for it, so we're just gonna thank our luck and happily move on. Must be on a slight uphill. Gaining speed is difficult. Being stuck in traffic like this because the independent will slow down when they're coming up that hill, and then you're next to no chance to really build up speed after that. But this is realistic to real life. That's why one of the reasons I like motorcycle, where you have so much power compared to the weight of the motorcycle that hills basically just get ignored. Hills don't affect you at all. Yeah, Juan is much more likely to try a wing stop than basically Juan is very likely to try a wing stop before I do, before I get the chance. I mean, I am not a fan of regular ranch, so I am down for the idea of something that is better than ranch if I'm going to be trying a ranch at all. describing as watery, I think doesn't sell an appeal of it, because it makes my brain just think of like watered down ranch, which would presumably be awful. But having a ranch that is less like ranch is one of those things of it's definitely a lot thicker than I think it ever needs to be. Ranch is not made better by being a thick, creamy sauce or dressing, however you want to refer to it. So something like I like guacamole is one of the things where you want it to have some thickness to it. It's not something you want to be able to pour on. Watery guacamole is not appealing. But yeah, and there are other things that you want it to be nice and flowy, and be able to spread it out more evenly. And ranch is definitely one of those things of like if you dip something in ranch, you like so much of it like cling to whatever you're dipping that you just end up eating something that just tastes like ranch. Whatever you're dipping is basically completely lost to the overwhelming flavor of ranch. But my decision to pull it past you. Getting close to our destination. We're an hour and a half away. 80 miles left. Although at our current speed, that should be less than an hour, but we'll see. And we start yawning. So relax in the yawning, dude. You're gonna make me tired in real life. And of course, fast enough that I think we might actually be able to pass this truck in the right lane. Which means he could have pulled over to the right lane and not been blocking traffic. Same with this vehicle. Could have chosen to not just be hanging out in the left lane. Alright, car, either you're going to pass or you're not. I've heard of it. I've never actually had A1 sauce. Destination's gotta be getting close. Nope, not the button I meant to press. Alright, looks like our destination comes up on the left, so we're probably gonna have an exit, still be exiting on the right, most likely. Still can't actually see what the exit looks like. Yeah, so we're going to be pulling off on the right side of the road via the normal sort of exit, and then, oh yeah, right, of course we're going to do a chemical dealer, which means we'll actually be able to do the exact sort of continue what we did last time, where we sleep right where we stopped there. So then the real question becomes, is there going to be a convenient gas station nearby? So well, there's a gas station and a rest stop right across the way, so we will go there to fuel up and rest. But we will deliver the load first. Yeah, I tapped the brakes there. That's on me. Still mess up the air brake simulation from time to time. Just don't quite take the due care. I wonder if I'd have an easier time with this if I actually had a steering wheel pedal set up. I would like to think that would improve it, but I'm actually not sure. I can't be completely confident in the fact that that's how that would work. It's where I screw myself over is the tapping. I'll tap the brake. That's not what you want to do. You want to gently apply. And that's one of the things I would be a lot less likely to be tapping the brake in real life, so. Part of me is inclined to believe that I would do better at this in real life. But then again, it might also take me a lot. Basically, I'd be putting a lot more effort into really learning how to do this good. The amount of time I spent training, like basically playing this game, would barely be a scratch on the. Oh, apparently that back one hooked a bit. I did another percent of damage. It's difficult to get in here and then make this corner tight enough to actually get the trucks lined up. But all right. Oh, this had a lot of bonuses on it. So I made over $50,000 on that run. Load up and we'll do the last distance. I can now do the maximum length of deliveries. But while we're here, let's look at it. So I still owe 348,000, so basically 350. And I can take out 150,000 combined with what I have right now. So if I just take out the maximum amount I'm allowed to take out for loans, I am about 80,000 short of paying off the big $400,000 loan. So we'll just have to let it keep paying itself off for a bit here before I go into that. Meanwhile, both of our drivers have kind of settled into the zone of where they are being productive, but they're both doing good. They're both making mid 3,000s a day for me. All right, well, let's get out of the Kenworth dealer. We'll make it just a quick little stop and discover the garage next to where we are. and then we'll go fill up on fuel. I mean, I would imagine so. It does sound like it's quite a different sauce. All right, just wait for the light to go green, and then we will be more or less exactly where we need to be. Get the corners a bit because I'm just chugging along a little bit because I want to get through this and get basically fueled up and get to the point where I can rest. All right, and then we just hop over here to the rest stop. Oh, I'll pull in right here because we can actually sneak out then out of the fuel yard. But perfect, we got our rest stop. Wake up early in the morning, and then we'll be on our way next time we do this again. But I'm gonna end the stream here. But thanks for hanging out. I hope you guys all have a good evening. And if it's not evening where you are, then I hope you have a good night, good morning, whatever it is. We'll catch you next time.